For the better part of the last 2 decades, minus a brief stint in Miami, LeBron James represented all things Cleveland Cavaliers. He was their homegrown hero that single-handedly made the NBA franchise relevant for 11 seasons. In that span, he put together a career arguably unmatched by any other player in the history of basketball, and his impact off the floor in the city has been equally as great as his impact on the floor. Now, like in 2011, the Cavaliers are going into the season without LeBron James leading the team. He's off in Los Angeles where he can raise his children and spend more time with his family, as well as continue to grow his other business ventures. Without him though, the Cavaliers have a huge gap left to fill on the team. It will be next to impossible to fill the shoes of one of the greatest players to ever do it, which brings me to the topic of today's video. Today, we'll be discussing Cedi Osman and why he is ready to step up in LeBron's absence and elevate his level of play at the small forward position for the Cavaliers. Before I begin though, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like on this video. Now, with that being said, let's get right into it. Cedi Osman is a small forward from Turkey who was selected 31st overall in the 2015 NBA draft by the Minnesota Timberwolves, but was immediately traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Before he was even on the NBA's radar though, he was seen as a professional prospect from very early on in his life. At the age of 13, he was identified by Turkish scouts and began his preparation towards attaining a life as a basketball player. As his progression continued, he began to compete at higher and higher levels of competition. In 2011, he was invited to compete in the Jordan Brand International game alongside the likes of current NBA players like Andrew Wiggins and Mario Hezonja. In that game, he scored 14 points and had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 6 steals. This was an early look at how complete his overall game was. From there, he got invited to play for the Turkish national team numerous times. He started with the U16 squad, where he established himself as a leader of the team, and progressed through to compete with the U18 and U20 teams as well over time. He won gold medals for Turkey on both of those teams at the European Championships, and even won the MVP of the tournament during his U20 run. He accomplished all of that while playing a year up, as he was a year younger than the rest of his competition. All of that success at the youth level got him an invite to compete with the Turkish senior national team in 2014, despite still being a teenager at the time. He played with the senior team at the FIBA World Cup in 2014 and carved out a small role off the bench, which is still very impressive for someone so young. At the club level, he played for Anadolu Efes of the Turkish league for 4 years. As is the case with most teenagers that play overseas, he was never given a significant role on the team as a starter, but he did play a significant role off the bench for the team in both the Turkish league and in the Euro League. In 2016, he averaged a career-high 20 minutes per game on the team, where he averaged 7.9 points per game and 3.1 rebounds per game, which aren't exactly eye-popping numbers, but you have to keep in mind that young players are almost never used in a big way overseas. As I mentioned earlier, Osman declared for the NBA draft in 2015 and was the first pick of the second round in that year's draft. The Cavaliers owned his rights, but Osman didn't come over immediately. He stayed in Europe for 2 more seasons after being drafted to continue to work on his game. He did finally come over last season and played his official rookie season during the 2017-2018 year. As a Cavalier, he had one of the most ideal situations that any young player could possibly have when it comes to getting acclimated to the NBA. He had no pressure on himself personally and got to learn from and pick the brain of the best player in the world for an entire season, and he did just that. Reports from inside Cavalier sources have confirmed numerous times how close Cedi became with LeBron James, and James seemingly took Cedi under his wing for the year, which is every young player's dream. Watching him put in the work that it takes to be as great as LeBron is bound to motivate those around him and put in that same kind of work. When James made it official that he was going to the Lakers, Osman posted a heartfelt message to James on his Instagram page, thanking him and noting how James brought out the best in him. Last season, Osman didn't put up any kind of big numbers because he only played 11 minutes per game, but he did show some flashes of being a very good player down the line. He scored the ball efficiently, shooting 48.4% from the field and 36.8% from three. He didn't get much playing time in the playoffs because when you play with LeBron James, the team tends to play the guys with the most experience and production at that level, and giving young promising players experience in the playoffs becomes an afterthought. No matter though, because just being able to experience the NBA Finals is a positive for any rookie. That brings us up to date to this summer. Now that we're all caught up with what got Osman to where he is, we can now dive into why I believe that he is ready to replace James as the Cavaliers' starting small forward and take a big step forward this season as a player. To start, he has been having an absolutely terrific summer so far in so many different ways. His summer started with him playing for the Turkish national team in the FIBA World Cup qualifiers. Here, his confidence looked as high as ever, and it honest to God appeared as though he had taken some things from LeBron James' game and added it to his own game. He was attacking the basket with power, finishing through contact, and even got a little crafty at the basket with his finishes at the rim. Osman had been on the skinnier side up to this point, but when the tournament started, he did look like he gained a few pounds of muscle, which helped him attack the basket as well as he did. On top of that, he was not afraid to pull the trigger on three from anywhere on the floor, and was knocking them down at a higher rate than ever as well. Overall, in the 2 games he played, he scored 20 points in each of them, and was very efficient with his scoring as well. He shot 7 of 13 from the field, and 3 of 5 from 3 in the first game, and in the second game, he shot 7 of 14 from the field, and 4 of 8 from 3, while also adding 11 rebounds. Shortly after that, the NBA Summer League started back up, and Osman participated with the Cavs team. Here, he continued his run of impressive play. His first game of Summer League, he recorded 15 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists. In the next game, he scored a whopping 25 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. His very much improved handle was once again on display, creating shots for himself and others off the dribble, and his jump shot has really come a long way since his overseas days. Now I've gone over how well he has scored the ball on offense, and the highlights show that aspect off, but don't get it twisted, Osman is a very good defender and two-way player as well. He uses his big 6'8" frame to guard not only his own position well, but guards and power forwards as well. Him getting gradually stronger will help him against bigger power forwards, and he has been quick enough to defend guards also. He's very good at playing passing lanes and getting deflections. So, overall, what kind of player is Cedi Osman exactly? Well, he's a small forward with excellent size for the position and doesn't force too much. He has been very good in the past as an off-ball player because he can spot up and knock down threes in catch-and-shoot situations, he frees himself up off screens, and he cuts to the basket hard. He's never really been tasked with being a primary ball handler or playmaker, but now that LeBron James is gone and Jeff Green is not with the team to take away his minutes, he is primed to be the Cavaliers' starting small forward, and will more than likely see his workload increase in areas that James left behind. That's why it has been so surprising to see him succeeding in dribble creation in the Summer League and FIBA games, and it's definitely going to help the Cavs this year. When it comes to expectations for Osman this year and moving forward, saying he's a future All-Star is definitely bold and ambitious, but it's also not completely out of the question. He has a solid overall game that has shown flashes of star potential. Am I guaranteeing that this will happen? No, absolutely not. Realistically this year, I see him maybe averaging around 15 points and 5 rebounds per game, and spacing the floor for the Cavs as a good shooter. In a few years, I can see him being a very good starting small forward with all-star potential, but even if he never reaches that peak, he is still in for a fantastic career. And with that being said, that's all I have for you. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more basketball content multiple times every week. Thanks for watching, and on that note, I'll see you next video.